The Very Serious Crafts podcast is now on Patreon. Head on over to patreon.com/seriouscrafts to support our podcast, get early access to episodes, find out about our unfiltered, patron-only off-week episodes, and more.
You're listening to the Very Serious Crafts podcast.
We're very serious crafters.
And we craft very serious crafts.
Very serious.
Hello, and welcome to Season 2, Episode 25 of the Very Serious Crafts podcast. I'm Molly from Wild Olive.
And I'm Heidi from Hands Occupied. Today we'll be talking about vacation crafting and Mr. Rogers, and it's just Molly and me.
Yes.
Haley's out of town.
Yes, we've been doing a little bit of this, trading off lately, and it shifts the dynamics a little bit, but it's kind of fun. You know, we get to have a different feeling to things while we're recording this way. So, it should be good.
And this is the first time that it's just you and me. And we've been doing this podcast for like almost 2 years.
Yes.
Like 18 months, but yeah.
Yeah,
Isn't
exactly.
that funny?
So we'll see how... I think this will be fine. I think this will be good. We'll find out, and you can tell us, dear listeners, if this was the worst idea ever. No, it's not. It's going to be
No, we'll do good. We'll do good.
Anyway,
okay, so speaking... Yeah.
Yeah, so Haley's out of town. I was out of town last time, and I was vacationing with my family, and we had a great time. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about that later, but part of my trip was visiting family in Florida, and I got to bring home my grandma, who lived in Florida, passed away earlier this year, and the family knew that I would probably have a strong connection to some of the handmade items that she had, and it was funny because I didn't really realize how many things that she had made until, probably in the last 10 years, I would say, when I started to realize, see these things in her home. And so I brought home a couple of old crewel pieces that she made. And one of them I knew about because it was on the wall, and I had asked for it specifically. It's like a 70s... it's a duck. I'm not a big duck fan, but it's a duck, and it has like flowers and stuff around it, and it was on brown fabric, and I have no idea where I'm going to hang this, but it was important for me to have it because sometimes that's how we connect with these things, right?
I'm sorry, I'm just giggling to myself, thinking Molly Johansson, not a duck fan, noted.
Exactly. I have a history. I had a bad experience, okay? Along with that, in with some of her supplies that I got to go through and choose from, there were actually extra items, like from the kit that it was. So I have like the extra threads and things from that and a couple other kits. And then there was also an unexpected... My goodness, the truck outside my house is especially loud, you guys.
It paints a pastoral picture of your suburban life.
Yes. It's just getting...
It's so relaxing.
I thought it was like leaving as we started recording this. No, I think it's getting closer. Anyway.
It's just attracted by our dulcet tones. It's fine.
So the other piece, though, that I had never seen before was all folded up, and it was definitely a 1970s crewel piece of some potted plants on like a hanging shelf unit kind of a thing. And so that was a fun surprise to bring home. So
that era of crafts, man, is
it's like those kits that Haley bought, the vintage kits that she bought.
That's what I was just thinking.
Yeah, it's that kind of piece. So I'm gonna have to get it all nice and framed.
Gardening and like houseplants that are like hangy, as well as like macrame and like latch hook and all these other like I guess fiber crafts, but like shaggy sort of textural 70s crafts, I think are very much like in like just about to start pulsing through trend wise, like really intensely in 2020. I really think that the 70s are going to be like the craft era that's big in 2020.
That's my prediction. my dear mother, I love her so much. Every time that I will show her like this new thing this has been going on now, probably my entire professional crafting life, where I'll show her something and she's like, "Oh, we used to do that in the 70s." Everything.
Yep.
I'm like,
oh yeah, my mom loves that too. What? I think maybe it's a generational thing where they're like, that's from when I was in high school. That's what my mom says.
and I'll be like, okay, I'm pretty sure that this was popular in the 80s. Like, as if that makes a difference.
Totally.
But yes.
I feel like now, I'm also my mother's daughter, and I get it now, because the 90s are so big, and I'm like, am I 800 years old?
Yeah, no. The things like where fashion things come up, and I was like, oh, yeah. Well, I had a conversation with my sister and someone else, and it was basically how, like, the new Visco girl is not a whole lot different than what we were wearing in the 90s. Like, we've got the big oversized T-shirts, we've got scrunchies, we've got Birkenstocks. Yeah.
Yep.
But I digress.
Yeah, I know. I was about to jump in with a fond description of my childhood Birkenstock style sandals from Payless that I loved, but that's not crafts, so I'll leave it. But what I've been up to lately is, well, I mean, this podcast comes out in a couple weeks, and it's almost Christmas, which is wild. We're recording the day before Thanksgiving, and I can't even believe 2019 is, like, almost gone. My mind is blown.
Yeah.
But the other thing that's blowing my mind is that my little niece, who I've talked about on the podcast, she's about 18 months old. And this Christmas will be our first Christmas with her, which is really exciting because we alternate sides of the family since we have multiple states to worry about, and flights are expensive and winter's real, so we don't want to throw the dice on 2 plane tickets in December, you know? So my niece, like I said, she's about 18 months now, and this will be our first Christmas with her. And last year, because she was a micro preemie, she was like a full trimester early. She was tiny. She was in the NICU for a long time. And so by Christmas, she was still really tiny, even though she was like 6 or 7 months old. And so my sister-in-law was like, it's fine that we're not going to do a thing for her first Christmas because she'll just be asleep, which I think is fair. But now she's walking and starting to like sort of talk a little bit.
Yes.
And so I think seeing like her first like lucid Christmas, I guess I could call it. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm really excited though, because like it's just been a bunch of grown-ups and she's the first grandkid, so we can like do silly stuff and have a good excuse to do it.
Yeah.
And the question I have first and foremost though is, at what age can I start doing crafts with her every time I'm visiting? Like I think 18 months is fine, right?
I would tend to say at this age, things that are more like art experiences or sensory experiences are like gonna be key. Like I would have no problem giving her paint at this point.
Yeah.
You might want to go.
I mean, I'll have to ask her mom.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, obviously, but like edible paint is gonna be safer. But like things where you could like let her play with, like let her hold yarn and stuff and start to like experience, because that's like such a, I mean, we know that that's a wonderful sensation. So I would introduce her to some of those supplies, and then by next year she'll be like making ornaments. Well, but even like think Play-Doh, like clay, making clay, like pressing hands or fingers into clay and stuff. She's ready.
Yeah. Well, and they live in the South. They live in Arkansas, so it's not that cold down there at Christmas. So if her mom's objection to, like, using paint is the mess, I can just take her in the yard and, like, pull out the kiddie pool and just make the mess in there and hose it off, right? And I'm just remembering, like, my librarian days and being like, oh, yeah, we'll just put the early literacy craft outside and then they can do whatever they want and we'll hose it off. So I'm excited.
I follow this person. I think her screen name is Dorky Ramos. That might have that really wrong. But she has like taught classes in Brooklyn where it's like a studio where you bring in babies to do like paint experiences and stuff and
cool.
craft things that way. And it's really cool. So yeah. I'm I'm going to quote some scripture here. Train up a child in the way they should go. And so that's what you need to be doing from early on here is get that girl crafting.
Well, and like her mom isn't, I love her. I love my sister-in-law to death. Neither of us have sisters and we're the same age and we get along really, really well. Which I know is not always the case and I'm grateful for it. Shout out to Catherine. But like she's not a crafty person and she's very open about that. And her mother wasn't particularly into homemaking type things either.
Yeah.
And so I'm very fine with being the auntie who makes Christmas stockings and being the auntie who is like, we're going to do crafts. I'm going to give you a craft kit for your birthday.
Yep.
Oh,
I love
what?
it.
Since it's just us, I'll bring up this one random like synapse fire that I just thought of. When I was a kid, my mom would give it was like an affordable gift idea that she could make. And she called them imagination stations. And so it was like a plastic craft organizer that she would buy with her like 60% Joann's coupon or whatever.
Yep.
And then she had a bunch of like craft supplies she'd bought like a gross of so she could divide them into these containers and then kids could get like, you know, non-toxic glue, pom-poms, beads, blah, blah, blah. And then also if I was giving it to a friend, I could tailor what craft was in it to what I knew they were into. And it was really cool. And it came with, you would get this basically craft toolkit with a printed out sheet of paper that was like a poem that played on the phrase imagination station. Like imagination station, quite a sensation. What will you do? Something creation. That's what I remember. Anyway, I just remember thinking that was such, as a kid, I thought it was kind of lame. But as an adult, I'm like, no, I'm going to give this to kids all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, and that the open-endedness of that is so good. Yeah. And
not every kid grows up with like a little craft zone in their house.
Absolutely. We used to babysit a little boy who I tell you what, if you gave him a hole punch or a roll of tape, he just was in heaven because he clearly didn't get to play with those things at home. And it was like, have fun.
Yeah. Well, and now that we live in a world with washi tape, I remember, like, because I would get washi tape for Hands Occupied for free or whatever, and I would have so much that was really not my style, and I'd bring it to the library and just put it in, like, a bin and tell the, like, younger kids, you can put tape on the wall if you stick to this panel, because I didn't want to have to, like, find tape everywhere.
Yes.
And they thought that was so cool because they could, like, write their name. They could actually, like, kind of draw on the wall. And it was the library, so they thought that was kind of cool. Anyway, I'm just so excited to, like, see crafting through a little kid's eyes up close again.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it'll be cute. Yeah. Or she'll hate crafts and I'll be like, well, I tried.
Well, I mean, that's a possibility. That's all you could do.
So anyway, speaking of traveling, we both have been traveling.
Yeah. So I was, my family's favorite place to vacation is Disney World. So we did Disney World and you were in Las Vegas, which I think I didn't even really like know until all of a sudden you were in Las Vegas.
Yeah, I will say bad on me as a friend for like forgetting to tell everyone that I was going on vacation. But in my defense, we were it was like booked because I tagged along to a conference with my husband.
Yeah.
And so it was booked like ages ago, like almost a year, I think. And then we ended up moving, and I was just like, well, this is already booked, so I'm just not going to think about it until I have to pack a bag, and that is absolutely what happened.
You know what? That can be nice. That can be nice.
Sure.
Yeah.
So that's why Vegas was a bit of a surprise.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mentioned 2 episodes ago that I was getting ready to go and what I was planning on packing for my trip, and I sort of mixed up a little bit what I brought, but did not get done nearly as much as I thought that I would get done.
So you didn't finish 5 entire projects like I said you should bring? I listened to that episode and I was like very confident in telling you to bring 5 projects, and I think that was a little much, probably.
Yeah, I mean, it might have been a little bit much. I did make a nice little bit of progress on a shawl, but it has some lace in it, and so there was more than one time when I had to go back and fix things with that. But and then I swatched a new project that I brought with, and so at least I feel like I can move ahead on that. This was the biggest fail of my projects that I brought with. I packed some English paper piecing with, and I was in the car on the way down, cutting pieces out, and all of a sudden realized that my templates had not printed to scale, and I couldn't do anything with it.
No.
I was like, oh. And it just deflated. There was other work that I could do on the project, but it deflated it so much that I was like, wah, wah. Yeah.
A real Eeyore moment, speaking of Disney.
Yeah.
A real Eeyore moment. Oh, that's the worst.
I know. I was like, why didn't I check this? Because it's been a really long time since I had a problem where it did not print at 100%. And so I never even thought about it before that.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Oh, what a time to learn that lesson. But of course, that's how that worked.
Of course. I mean, but then I still had plenty of other things that I could work on, so it was okay. That's why you pack a lot of things with.
I mean, well, I can jump in real quick and talk about my sudden, and for listeners of this podcast, probably unsurprising shift in what I was going to bring to work on my vacation.
Yeah.
So, if you listened to the last episode, you heard me in real time find out that my knitting project might be poisonous. And for context, Haley and I recorded that episode right before I left for my trip. And so for some reason, I just was not feeling super excited about working on that poison sweater anymore.
Imagine.
And so luckily I was like, you know what? I've been kind of wanting to try a Soldatna sweater. That it's a sweater that if you are a knitter on Instagram or Ravelry, you've definitely seen it. And I had heard that it was a really quick knit and it was DK weight, so the gauge wasn't crazy small or anything. And I said, you know what? I think I want to see if I can block that swatch and like figure out an entire sweater project to bring on vacation. Because I'm about to start a big project and wanted to do something for me, just one last squeezed in project before I go into a work cave for 3 months.
Yes.
And so the Soldatna was the winner, and I ended up whipping that thing out from swatch to finished blocked sweater in 10 days.
Unbelievable.
It was crazy.
Jeez.
I had a lot of time down during the day while my husband was at sessions, and I am not the most social person, so I found a lot of interesting corners to people watch and knit my weird sweater. So I'm sure everybody thought I was a total freak, but I knocked out a sweater in 10 days, and it's a Christmassy themed sweater, so I'm happy.
I picture like smoke coming off of the knitting needles because you're like working so fast.
No, it's like a notoriously quick knit. That's another reason I picked it, because I had a friend who said they knocked it out in a weekend, and I was like,
what?
I think that's called like that's the only thing you do that weekend. But I was still pretty chuffed with myself for a 10-day sweater.
Yeah, definitely. I think, and I tend to be a slow knitter just in general. There's a lot of other things that I can work up quickly, but knitting is not one of those things. So yeah, one of these days I will finally
it was fun.
Get to doing continental knitting, and then I know it'll help. But I just haven't quite gotten there.
It takes it's just the matter of, like, as a craft designer, when you're used to working at one speed and then you're like, I know changing my technique will help me. Like, maybe my back will stop hurting, or my technique will improve, or I'll work faster. Yeah. And with continental knitting especially, because I wasn't really a thrower. I had kind of developed a weird little technique because I learned as a child.
Yeah.
And I would drop the yarn between every stitch, and I was really slow. And I was like, you know what? I think if I switch to continental, and if I'm also very conscious of my hand position, it'll probably help me with tendonitis and stuff.
Yeah.
And maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I decided to just do a garter stitch project and have it be only continental, and it took forever, and my tension sucked, but I really don't regret taking that time looking back.
That's the thing for me is that I've just not had I haven't had the ability to work in the project that would be that, like, because I know I've had too many things where it's like, this has to be right, and I know that it won't be right if I try to do continental. Right. So yeah,
I 100% am picking up what you're putting down. I know exactly how you feel.
But anyway,
so
back to vacation crafting.
So when you were in Disney, you were sending us, me and Haley in the group text, some pictures of some cool craft stuff that you saw at Disney.
Yeah.
And it looked cute as heck.
Yeah. I shared a few little things on Instagram as well, and I will, I'll share some photos, that I took of things, because that's what you do when you are a crafter at Disney. And I even one thing I put up, and I was like, hey, Disney fans who craft, do you recognize this location? And one person got it in 2 guesses, so that was pretty good.
Nice.
Yeah. So there's certain things that you just become more aware of, or, around you when you are interested in them. So I was waiting in line at the Frozen ride, and they have this area where it looks like you're out, like, in a little, like, town square. And so there's little stores around the outside of the room. And one of them is, like, a dressmaking shop. And so they had these rolls of fabric, or wooden bolts of fabric leaning up against the shop. And so that was really cute. There's an area at the Magic Kingdom where it's made, it's like the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique. It's one of their locations where you can go and get all dressed up and stuff. And so it's, the windows are like the mice from Cinderella's, like the dress that they transformed for her. And so it has the mice in there, but it also has, like, craft supplies and things, and a dress form. And I could not take a photo of it because the glare on the glass was so bad. You just couldn't see it. But
dang it,
that was fun. One of the things that I shared was in Morocco. They have, like, in this marketplace area at Epcot, there's, like, hanks of yarn hanging from the ceiling, and someone told me that they thought they might have actually known where that yarn was purchased from, like what yarn company that came from, because of insider information, which was kind of cool. We're not sure if that is accurate or not, but, like, that was kind of like, when someone recognizes specific yarn hanging in Disney World, you know that they're a yarn geek. You know who you are if you're listening to this.
That's really funny.
My favorite one that I found was it was in the new Star Wars area that they have, and there's a store there that sells, like, clothing items that are made to look like the real Star Wars gear. And they had, instead of, like, bolts of fabric, because it's Star Wars, they had these really cool, like, rolls of fabric that had, like,
awesome.
Like, end pieces on it. And then they had, like, rickrack and thread on the wall. And it was really
rickrack?
Cool. It was
Space
like
rickrack.
It was like trims and different things like that. It was,
I love trims.
Yeah.
I could look at trim all day.
Yeah.
And I rarely ever do anything with it. And I love ribbon so much.
Yes. So when you go to New York City, you have to visit a place called, I think it's called MJ's Trims and Ribbons or something to that. It's MJ's. And that's all it is ribbon and trim, and you just walk in and are like,
Ooh.
oh. But again, I don't use it very often, so I have to be really careful when I go to that store. But yeah, so the craft supplies.
While we're talking about how much ribbon rules, real quick. RULES. I say the word rules weird. I think it has to do with my Fargo accent. Rules. Rules. I can't say it. Sorry. Ribbon is great. But so hearing about that trim store made me think of, I don't remember if I've talked about it on the podcast before, but in the Pilsen neighborhood on like the middle south side of Chicago, so like 18th and Westernish. For those who know the city, I don't know why I said the intersection on a podcast. No one cares except people who live here. Sorry. Anyway, they have it's called the Fabric Discount Outlet. And they have, like, dead stock bolts of fabric from Joann's from, like, what looks like the 70s and 80s and, like, other big box stores. And it's, like, a giant old warehouse that's just multiple floors. Like, if it caught fire, it would go in a second because that thing is just old and full of flammable objects. Yes. But the Pilsen neighborhood is one of Chicago's many, it's changing, like many of Chicago's neighborhoods, but historically it's been a Latino neighborhood, and so there's this huge section of quinceañera, quince dresses is what my library kids would call them. They have a whole section of notions and fabrics specifically designed for quinceañera dresses, and it is so cool. They have like an entire like wall of like sequins and sparkly notions and beads. So it's on the south side, but if you're ever in Chicago and are really into sewing, it's like a sight to behold. And you can also buy a couch's worth of foam for like $3. So pro tip, don't buy foam from a big box store if you can make it to a discount outlet. Anyway.
But yeah, so other things that I saw that had me all craftily inspired. I don't know if that's a word, but it is now.
I think it's fine.
Okay, so they had a knit Mickey hat, and I did share this on Instagram, and they did the design. It kind of looks like cross stitch, but it's like color work in the hat, but the way that they spaced the stitches was like every other stitch. It was like on a, like on the grid, but you had a gap between the colors, and I'll put the picture in the show notes so you can see it. But I saw that in that, and I thought, okay, that's a really unique way to put together a piece of art, and how could I use that technique in stuff that I'm designing? Love that kind of thing. These gorgeous painted murals in Epcot at the Land Pavilion, and I've seen them every time that I've gone to Disney World. I always love them, but the brush strokes in them, even like I looked at that and I was like, ooh, I bet I could bring that into embroidery as like fill stitches and just do some different things color-wise there. So that was really cool. And then the other one that I thought was really fun was in the new-ish Pandora area. So Pandora is like from the movie Avatar. And it's all very like natural and organic looking. And they had these like sculptures and things that were very macrame-like. It was so cool. Cool. Right down to like some of them were like these goddesses, I think, that that were made with like these wrapped, knotted rope-like materials, because everything is supposed to be like from this other world, basically. And some of them were like garland, kind of like knotted garland pieces that had beads, like large beads worked into them. Kind of like, did you ever have those like bracelets or necklaces where you'd like thread the beads on with like a hemp?
Yeah, and you had like the little loom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It reminded me so much of that, but like on a big scale. And it was cool. And I was like, that could be a really cool thing to find a way to make even like Christmas garland that is knotted in that way, and add larger beads as like baubles into it. So that was cool. Yeah.
And macrame is going to be a big trend.
It is.
With being a 70s craft.
That's right. That's right.
I just did macrame today on my blog. I'm saying it.
So what were your
I love that though.
Big craft things?
I love that because like Well, I was going to say, like, it's funny comparing, like, a hyper designed world like Disney.
Yes.
And a hyper designed world like Vegas.
Yeah.
Because they're both this, like, funny destination place that, like, is designed to make you feel like you're outside of real life.
Exactly.
You know?
It's absolute escapism.
Yeah. And it's all encompassing.
Yes.
And, like, I mean, part of what's all encompassing about Vegas is that they still let people smoke cigarettes inside. And I was like, oh, wow. All my clothes are dirty. I'm not used to this one. It wasn't so bad because we were there in the off season, but smoking's gross.
It's so bad for you. Why?
That's not as much of, I don't know. And so I'm sure you didn't have to deal with that in Disney.
Correct. They don't even let you smoke even in designated areas inside the park. You have to like have your cigarette outside the gates before you get in now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You got to set a good example for the children.
Yeah.
And it's also funny because there's like in Las Vegas there's characters walking around in like, you know, showgirl outfits or whatever impersonator outfits, and then in Disney they're dressed as Disney characters. Exactly. It's just kind of funny the like parallel but very differently rated vacations we just had.
Yeah. Yes.
So this whole ramble is just that I keep thinking about how funny it is to be in like a hyper engineered world. And so there's people who are like interior designers, but they're specifically hired to make this like hyper, like all the volume turned up world.
Yeah. And
it's so funny when crafts get involved. And that's the extent of my point. Sorry. I just thought that was really funny.
No. I love it. And in fact, you would really love the new Imagineering show that's on Disney Plus because...
Oh, really? We have Disney Plus. I just found out we got it.
Awesome. Yes. If you have if you've gotten Disney Plus, you should watch the Imagineering show because they talk about like most of it is big concept stuff, but they talk about, the kinds of people that you bring in to make the clothing that goes on the Small World figures and stuff like that. It's interesting.
Cool.
Yeah, it's fun.
I bet I'm gonna have to watch that.
Yeah.
Because that sounds like incredibly a thing I would like.
Yeah, I find it very interesting, and it is. It's like where you see like how they are really designing a whole world and what goes into that. And I think that anytime that you're talking about creative things like that, you can apply it to the creative work that you do, like even if it's a completely different medium. So yeah,
totally,
highly recommend.
Well, and the one last thing I wanted to mention about my trip to Vegas that has to do with crafts is just because this was a thing I didn't really know before going to Las Vegas. Turns out that the vintage and antique shopping scene in that town are incredible. Like apparently it's known for having really amazing antiques.
Huh. I guess that makes sense.
I think it's well, and clothes wise, think about it. A bunch of showgirls, like wardrobes from back in the day, like there was some really cool glamorous stuff at a lot of the vintage shops. I only found one vintage showgirl like feather sequin headdress. Yeah, but it had a matching bikini. It just wasn't a practical purchase.
I mean, yeah, okay.
But showgirls aside, the vintage shopping is. I love vintage shopping. It suits a lot of vintage poses. Haley and I have talked about before. Just it like suits my body type. And it's so one of my favorite things about vintage shopping. And this was the first time I went vintage shopping for like 4 hours in one chunk because I had the day to myself and I really wanted to just see if it was cool, and it really was. Yeah. And the best part is, if you have a ton of time to actually try everything on, even stuff that doesn't fit that you might think is worth altering because you love it so much. Mm-hmm. The best thing is seeing all of the handmade vintage because so many more people were making their own clothes. Yeah. And this is pure speculation, but my thought process was, if a lot more people could sew their own clothes. And if you make something yourself, and this is part of why I make my own clothes, you're less likely to be wasteful with it. You're less likely to get rid of it. Right. And you're more likely to mend it. Right. And I think that might be part of why so much handmade survives to the vintage shops and to thrift stores, because when people have an estate sale or do a donation of their like grandmother's clothes or whatever, the clothes that are still in that wardrobe, even if they haven't worn them in a long time, are more likely to be a handmade. Again,
that makes sense.
I'm just making things up, but it makes sense to me.
It does make sense. Yeah, I would.
And the best find that I wore just yesterday, that was definitely handmade, was this red circle skirt. It's called a patio skirt from the 50s, and so it's a full circle skirt that reaches about to mid calf.
Okay.
I believe they're designed to be like, most people wore them with like espadrilles while they were barbecuing in the yard, you know.
Yeah.
But I found it's this beautiful red skirt, definitely handmade because none of the seams are finished and there's no tags.
Okay.
And the zipper looks hand installed. But I almost didn't get it because I was like, it's too much. It's got so much fabric. I don't know if I'm going to wear this. But it had no less than 7 or 8 kinds of rickrack as a trim.
Oh.
And there was a specially woven ribbon that was like desert themed. And I was like, I have to get this. It's only $20 and it fits and it's got all these crazy notions. So even if it falls apart, I can rip off all this ribbon and use it again.
Okay, that's brilliant. That's brilliant.
Yeah, so
I love it.
I had a blast shopping. And shout out to the Glam Factory. I befriended their shop girl who was very, very body positive, and she kept being like, you can definitely fit into this, just so you know. And it wasn't salesy. It was just like a nice, like, friend kind of vibe. So that's all.
I love it.
Oh, one last thing. I did not sleep a lot last night, dear listeners. Thank you for being patient with me. The true crafty find, though, of that day of vintage and antique shopping was something from an antique shop, like one of those shops that has the different stalls that you can rent.
Yeah.
One of the places had a whole bunch of like quilts and handmade dresses, and I was looking through a pile of hankies and I found the fabric. And so the one piece of fabric they had that was 2 yards, so it was worth getting, was this vintage baby fabric from like the 50s that was clearly designed like for a 1950s boy child.
Okay.
It was a light blue seersucker fabric, and then it had a print that was soldiers, horses, and drums.
Cute.
And it's so cute, and I think I'm gonna make like a little PJ set with it for me.
I love it.
For summer.
Yes.
It's so cute. So
I support
anyway,
that.
don't forget that vintage and antique shopping can be really fun to do on vacation because there's just different stuff in different regions.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed that a lot.
Well, and it makes sense, especially like Las Vegas being a completely different climate and vibe. Yeah. So that's cool.
Not
Good
a
call
lot
to
of knitwear at those shops, but
that makes sense. Yeah.
but lots of good summer clothes. Lots.
Nice. Well,
So, yeah.
speaking of knitwear, you yesterday, or the day before yesterday, I think it was, posted a picture on your Instagram stories that inspired this next topic because I got very excited about it. So the picture was of the guys from Beekman 1802 wearing Mr. Rogers cardigans that someone knit for them. And I had watched them when they were on The Amazing Race a while ago, and I was very excited about this cardigan pattern, which of course, it makes sense that those patterns exist. I mean, probably the original patterns exist. But so recently the Mr. Rogers film came out with Tom Hanks, and it was also in November, it was Cardigan Day, which coincides with Kindness Day. And so there was a few little things that popped up on my radar about Mr. Rogers, and specifically things that were knit and crochet related. And so I thought we would probably both have a fun time talking about this.
Yes, ma'am.
So,
and have you seen the movie?
I have not seen the movie yet. I saw the documentary, but I have not seen the movie yet, and I'm very excited to see it.
Ed and I went and saw the movie. Ed's my husband. We went and saw the movie Monday, maybe. And it was different than what I expected, but I really enjoyed it.
Okay.
That's all I'll say.
Okay. I'm very...
No spoilers.
Yeah. No spoilers about Mr. Rogers. I'm...
Hey, spoiler alert, he wears a lot of sweaters.
Well, and this is if people are not familiar with Mr. Rogers, of course who isn't familiar with Mr. Rogers, but
I was like, if you're not familiar with Mr. Rogers, you're a murderer.
But classic children's television, and I grew up watching it, and in fact, earlier this year we did our live show at the Harold Washington Library in Chicago. And when I was a little girl, I got to go see Mr. Rogers live at that library. So, yeah. So that was pretty cool. But
you want to know what's cute?
Yes.
When I was little, Maria from Sesame Street came to my library.
Oh, cool.
And I got to meet her.
That's fantastic.
It was my favorite. Sorry.
Yes.
That's
No. I love
parallel.
that. I love it. So, not everyone knows this about Mr. Rogers, but almost all of the sweaters that he wore on the show, his mother knit for him. And there's just something so beautiful about that anyway.
It's so sweet. It's so sweet.
Yeah. And so I was looking a little bit at just different things related to this, and I found an article about the woman who knit the sweaters for the film, and her
dream job.
Well, I mean,
sorry, I just keep shouting what comes into my brain.
Yes and no, right? Okay, so the woman who did this, her name is Yasmin Esmek, and she's done some costume things before, and I'll link to this article in the show notes so that you can hear more about it. But here's the thing. First of all, because of, they needed different sweaters for different times, so some of the sweaters she made as machine knits because they wanted it to look different from the hand knit ones, because apparently that was, that shifted for him over time once he maybe couldn't have these sweaters from his mother anymore. That would make sense. They made them out of cotton yarn because that was going to work best for the film and for being on set.
Did they want just the most stitch definition, but also breathability or something?
Breathability was a big thing. They said that...
Okay.
And this is what's interesting. It says, we tried acrylic, but they didn't like the touch. And with all the lights, Tom Hanks would have sweat too much. So I thought that was... that was interesting. It makes sense.
Actually... Yeah, exactly. Because if he's also doing the Mr. Rogers thing, which is changing his sweater while, talking to the camera, he can't be, sweat stained out.
Exactly. Exactly. But here's the part where this is the dream job, but also less so. She made 6 sweaters. 2 of them were machine knit, but she made 6 sweaters in 9 weeks. So you would be capable
of
this.
Talk about smoke coming off your needles.
Can you imagine?
Yeah, talk about smoke coming off.
Dealing with sizing things and all this stuff. Yeah.
And they looked like they were Mr. Rogers' sweaters were mostly zipper, which is a whole nother thing.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. So that's impressive.
I mean, the technique, having seen the sweaters on the big screen, and I had heard about the legendary 9-week timeline. And so I was looking at them trying to see if I knew they'd be perfect because this is for a movie and these are professional crafter people. But I was just trying not to get distracted too much from the movie, but looking at the sweaters being where's the flaw? Or how many actual human tears are in these garments?
Yeah. Yeah. Really, and she also made them in the summer. She made them one summer, so it would have also been very warm to do that. Yeah. At
least we know it's possible if we ever end up on a deadline like that ourselves, right, Molly?
There you go. Which of us would be foolish enough to take a short deadline like that? Both of us. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was all excited about the the Mr. Rogers sweaters, which there are. I have 2 pattern links so that you can make your own. Lion Brand has one that is really cool. They show it in like more like a taupe or like a, I don't know, a nice light
like
brown. Yeah. And I thought, why don't I have a Mr. Rogers sweater? Anyway, but then my sister wanted to make sure that I knew about what happened for November 13th, which is World Kindness Day and Cardigan Day. And so there was a hospital in Pittsburgh, and to celebrate this day, a nurse from the hospital made Mr. Rogers cardigans for all of the babies in the hospital.
Oh, so cute.
It is so precious. And they appear to also all have matching, like, Mr. Rogers sneaker booties as well. The one article I found
so cute.
Definitely says that she knitted them, and you can clearly see that they are crocheted because that. But also, it makes sense to crochet them because she made a lot of them in a hurry, you know? Or I don't know how long it took her to make them.
Yeah.
But it's so cute. They show these pictures of all of the little cradles of babies dressed as Mr. Rogers, and it's just the best thing. And his wife came to visit them and see them all in their gear, and it's so precious. I love it.
So cute.
I could just look at these babies all day.
Mr. Rogers' widow she had a cameo in the movie as well.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, that movie made me cry. It was so good. Sorry, I hadn't thought about that movie in a couple days.
I'm definitely anticipating that I will be crying because I cried during the documentary, and yeah. So I also found a few things where there's a Mr. Rogers statue in Pittsburgh, and there's someone that yarn bombed it with a cardigan, which is really cool. And I've seen that pop up along the way. But I'll link to that so people can see that. And have you seen, I'm sure you've seen, the little amigurumi Mr. Rogers with hand puppets?
Is that one Crafty is Cool? Is that user? I feel like it might be.
Hang on, it's on Ravelry, and let me make sure that I get the right.
Yeah. She does her Instagram. If it's the person I'm thinking of, her Instagram is really rad, and she does all these like amigurumi celebrities, and then like gives them to the celebrity, and they take pictures with it. And I'm pretty sure she's the one who's done the Mr. Rogers.
It is. Her name is Allison Hoffman, but Crafty is Cool is her website. So yeah. Oh my goodness! First of all, the teeny tiny Daniel Tiger and King Friday puppets are insane. But like, it's just so sweet, and there's just something that's so feel good about Mr. Rogers.
I know, like no one could ever say anything bad about Mr. Rogers.
I know, and
what a sweet spirit.
Yeah. And he knew, like, he just genuinely cared and loved, like, the children of the world, wanted good things for them, and like the way that he brought difficult conversations into things and everything, like, I miss him.
I just feel like as he was talking about how to have feelings and how to have empathy.
Yeah.
To little kids at a time when that was kind of radical.
Yeah. Yeah. And
I like that's really progressive, honestly.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And he saw the importance of those things that people just didn't, or people didn't think that was something that was necessary for kids to be talking about. Well, maybe even adults. But it was just so I love that he is continuing to leave a legacy in things, and so it just makes me happy.
And And speaking of like world building, that's another thing to love about Mr. Rogers. Like, it's almost like people forget that he like made these puppets and this world with castles and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And that's just another layer of things to love about Mr. Rogers.
Yeah.
So anyway, I feel like that's a pretty good, sweet place to leave this episode.
It is.
What do you think?
I think so. And now I've added more planned projects because I really want one of those sweaters.
Yeah. I know. And I bet it takes more than 10 days to make one.
I mean, a lot of the sweater is fairly straight knitting, but you get these great cables along that front zipper, so, you know. Anyway. All right. And also my cat is knocking on the door. She would like to come in and say hello or something, but I'm going to see if I ignore her. She'll stop. We'll see. Anyway, we're going to wrap this up for today, but thank you all so much for listening. However, before we officially sign off, we want to give a very serious shout out to some serious friends of the Very Serious Podcast, Very Serious Crafts Podcast, who are supporting us.
I always do that too.
They're supporting us at patreon.com/seriouscrafts. So many thanks to Meg and all of our supporters there. We really do appreciate you all. Thanks to everyone for listening to the Very Serious Crafts Podcast. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Serious Crafts, and on Facebook at Very Serious Crafts. You can also find show notes and all things Very Serious Crafts at veryseriouscrafts.com. And finally, if you are a fan of the Very Serious Crafts podcast, please leave us a 5-star review on whichever platform you use to listen to podcasts. Good ratings help us to show up in recommendations, which helps more people who love crafting find us. Thanks!
We really appreciate it. Yay!
Yeah.
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Can that be how this episode ends?
Yes, that's perfect.
Yay!
Bye, friends.
Bye.